that's basically everything, I guess.
Warning.
Wait, what is this? What is this video called? Is Scar King a whole new orangutan-like species? New GVK possible? Okay, and Goji Center made a new vid about Scar King. Now this is gonna be interesting.
This episode may contain potential spoilers for the upcoming film Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire.
Hey, yo, Chad. Speaking of Scar King, what y'all think about him? Like, in all honesty, I could actually see subspecies of the Kong species. Like, we got Kong, his species. We got Scar King, his species, and we got like other, like let's say they got like 5 different species of monkeys. We got Kongs, we got Scar King, and we got other mysterious ones. And for Godzilla, we got the Godzilla species, we got the dog, we got the and other subspecies. Like that's what I think. I mean, that's a plausible reason. Subspecies, you know.
The information discussed here is pure speculation and should not be regarded as official or canon to the MonsterVerse. What do real-life animals such as this orangutan have to tell us about the new MonsterVerse villain?
You said PK? Man, screw PK. PK pissed me off earlier. PK pissed me off on a whole different level.
Today, we'll try to do our best to uncover some potential attributes of this new monster and see if we can figure this guy out before the release of GXK. Note that there have already been some leaks circling around this new ape titan that may or may not be officially true, some of which may have mentioned this ape by its name. Now, this is your last warning before we make mention of a couple of these leaks. For this episode, we will be referring to this new kaiju as Scar King. And also, since we don't really have the official name of the species that he belongs to, we'll be referring to them as the Red Apes. Upon its first appearance in the title reveal trailer, many people instantly took note of its glowing eyes, reddish-brown appearance, and lanky build. And some went as far as comparing this fella to the Beast Titan from Attack on Titan. The big monkey titan that had an absolute field day with all sorts of opponents, ranging from technologically deprived islanders to people who had firearms and other explosive weaponry down to a science. Similar to these guys in Enlisted, today's sponsor. Now, this game took us by surprise.
No sir, no sir, no sir. You ain't getting this sponsored on me.
Let's get back to the new Ape Titan. So back to the Scar King, we'll be covering 5 attributes that may give this guy a critical edge when facing off bulky opponents like Kong and Godzilla, using what may be the real-life creature.
I mean, chat, in all honesty, I could actually see Scar King dogging Godzilla like from left, right, dogging him. Because we all know the bigger doesn't mean you're going to win. You could be small and have the skills to beat the hell out of a person who's bigger than you. And obviously, Scar King is going to be smarter than Godzilla, lighter. But he's gonna be faster, able to use more weapons, and not as bulky as Kong. So I can see he gonna have the movement, the agility. He ain't gonna have the strength, but he gonna have the weapons, stuff like that. It's plausible. It's a plausible reason. It's a good reason to think that if he gonna it's a good reason. Just like Shimu. Like, I'm not sure if Shimu is real because I don't really pay attention to the GXK leaks. I don't really look at it. But I heard rumors about a creature called Shimu, and pretty sure if Shimu exists, he's gonna be way bigger than Godzilla. He's gonna be way bigger than him if he's real. I don't know if he's real or not.
That inspired its design and characteristics, the orangutan. Note that a direct comparison between orangutans and Scar King is not going to be a perfect one-to-one. Remember, all titans are not normal animals and follow their own rule sets. Instead, this perspective discussed in this episode will use orangutans and gorillas as plausible benchmarks to use as reference. But why are we specifically using an orangutan to compare with Scar King?
Because he's red?
Well, there are many clues. The presence of lanky appendages, red coloration of fur, and the fact that orangutans, as far as cognitive abilities go, can be far more complex than that of gorillas, which are physically more stronger than orangutans but aren't necessarily as crafty. Let's delve deeper into the differences of these two kaijus by assigning them the apes that were potentially used as chief real-world references. That being African gorillas for the Kong and orangutans for Scar King. Number 1, base differences.
New I'll push something
bro,
up.
bro, bro. Let's it's a good chance he might not be 433 feet tall. It's a good chance. Remember, the movie is still in production. I think they could always change it. They could always change it. They could always change it. Like I don't always believe leaks. I don't always believe it. I don't always believe leaks. So somebody could say this one thing, somebody could say this other thing. Somebody could say this, somebody could say that. So I don't really pay attention to leaks. I just wait till the movie or trailer come out.
Better sleep with both eyes open.
You are up against something bigger than you.
I can't play on live TV in front of millions of people.
It's gonna be fun.
All right now.
What if my coverage isn't right? What if I accidentally hit a food truck? What if it gets covered in empanadas?
At State Farm, we're there for your what ifs.
Thanks.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Despite being the great ape that is most distantly related to humans, one of the orangutan's most notable attributes is their cognitive ability. In fact, the word orangutan comes from the Mayala words orang hutan, which together mean forest person, for obvious reasons. Male orangutans, unlike male gorillas, tend to be solitary creatures and are shown to demonstrate aggression towards other males to set up a territory. They can live in groups, and when they do, they show complex social dynamics, including empathy, consoling, and even alliances and coalitions. A much more complex social system than a group of gorillas. These guys, as well as the Kong species, are actually very social creatures. It's extremely rare to see a single male gorilla by itself wandering about. If kept alone and isolated, gorillas tend to get sick, stressed, and even develop symptoms similar to depression. Sound familiar? Yeah, our boy Kong has been alone for a while, and the worst place to be alone at such a young age was Skull Island. Scar King, however, would probably not have any issues with being alone. But does this...
You know, for my theory for Scar King, for my little small teaser of him standing across bones of like a graveyard of stuff, like a graveyard of Titan bones, like I could actually see him. Well, let's say in the past there was a tribe, a group of monkeys, and I could see Scar King as a rogue monkey, as a renegade or something like that. Like he do what he want to do, like, and he's an enemy of his species and the Godzilla species, and he just good at what he do. He just hunt them down and make them as trophies, like a predator. We all know predator and aliens and stuff like that. Like, I could see him hunting down titans and using their head as trophies. I mean, it'll be pretty damn cool, but it's a good theory in my opinion.
This actually mean that he's going to be alone in the next film? Maybe yes, and maybe no. This is a talking point that we are going to be revisiting later in this episode. Remember that orangutans can form alliances or entities such as the said coalitions. Keep this in mind as we move further in the episode. Number 2, deception. This category will help us understand that orangutan intelligence is a little more complex than that of gorillas in regards to social interaction. There are not many examples of deception employed by gorillas in the wild. In captivity, there is a recorded instance where the male gorilla would purposefully hide from the mother of the child to play with the infant, despite her not wanting him to do so. Orangutans are a different story. There are many cases where orangutans employ deceptive tactics against other members of their own kind and other species. In one case, certain individuals were seen using foliage to blast their calls through them, modifying their voices and in the act sounding like bigger and more powerful apes. Things get crazier with orangutans in captivity. Ken Allen, a male orangutan at the San Diego Zoo, became well known for its deceptive habit of escaping his enclosure many times and acting innocent when under surveillance. Once the zookeepers would go away, Ken would get right back at trying to escape. This guy went ahead and would teach other orangutans how to get out.
Say they have to stay one step ahead of the very intelligent orangutans.
Ken Allen himself hasn't escaped from this exhibit for almost a year now.
1988, goddamn.
Most people here think he's the
Yo, this took place in 1988, chat. None of us was even born. God dang. None of us was even here. 1988. That monkey long gone, I think. I mean, I'm pretty sure monkeys like orangutan, they can live for a very long time. 40, 30 years? I don't really know how long they can live, but 1988 is a long. It's a long time ago.
Mastermind behind these other
Like
successful attempts.
30 years ago or something like that.
You see, apart from being deceptive, this species can actually teach others how to do the same as well. Another fella known as Fu Manchu would fashion a lockpick from a wire to let himself out, hiding this tool inside his mouth, understanding that this little device is important for escape. Just like Ken, this orangutan escaped many times. Because this species is basically a master of deception, we can assume that Scar King will probably have these same attributes. Being an extremely crafty titan means that it would be able to do things Kong can't. Now, admittedly, Kong was a pretty deceptive creature himself as well, as seen in the Battle of Hong Kong where he successfully lured Godzilla to face away from him. This deceptive nature in Kong is one of the few attributes that he highly outperforms gorillas in. One could say Kong outperforms orangutans in deception as well, but will he be better at this than Scar King? If we think about this for a second,
Let's be real, y'all. It's obvious that Scar King is gonna have way more experience than Kong. It's obvious. It's very obvious he's gonna have way more experience than Kong, way more battle experience. So, if he fight Kong, Kong gonna get whooped. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna call it. He gonna get whooped. And if he survive, maybe Kong come learn from his failure and come back even better than before. You know, I can see that happening.
deceit will be one of the many attributes that Scar King will have to be better at, since he already lacks a robust build. Meaning that rather than focusing on strength, this guy would be highly dependent on his wits. The superiority of orangutan intelligence does not end in deceit. Coming up, can these animals give us clues about any potential weaponry? Enjoying this episode? Friendly reminder for you to subscribe. And go subscribe to Goji Shorts too. Watch fun Monsterverse Kaiju shorts, dinosaurs, and stuff that will scare your friends. Okay, that's it. Number 3, tool use. Scar King's use of tools can maybe be hinted at by the tool use proficiency found in orangutans. Note that in the real world, orangutans are animals that don't just eat plants and fruits, but also consume meat such as fish, but it doesn't end there. In fact, they are one of the only few of the great apes that eat other apes.
Wait, really?
Orangutans are seen fashioning prods to scare cat.
Whoa, hey, Chet, I ain't gonna lie. I never knew orangutans eat meat. I mean, I never knew that. And they eat other monkeys? I mean, not their species, not the only species, but other subspecies monkeys? I never knew that.
Catfish out of the water to grab them, altering existing tools to improve them, using deductive reasoning to understand what tools are best for the task at hand, and using makeshift whips to scare away or get animals of other species to stay at bay. Scar King would maybe display these traits, but at a more magnified...
Wait, what'd you say? You said, did I see the Godzilla vs. Megalon short? Nah, bro. I was watching it on stream earlier, but it, like, the entire thing just cut off my entire stream, so I couldn't watch it because since it was made in Japan, it's basically copyright issues, stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to make a small video. I can't watch it on stream.
Scale. But first, let's talk about gorillas and the Kong species. This female gorilla here is seen using a stick to gauge the depth of this small body of water to see if it's safe to cross. This is one of the few examples we have. In comparison to orangutans, gorillas don't really display vast amounts of tool use in the real world due to the fact that most of the activities that they partake in can be facilitated by their own bodies. No need to use rocks to crack fruits open when you boast the 5th most powerful bite in the animal kingdom. And since being extremely strong solves most, if not all, of your problems when it comes to defense and hunting. Except gorillas are strictly vegetarian, so no need to use any tools to capture prey like their Asian counterparts. This is one of the other main differences between Monsterverse Kong and gorillas. Our Kong here feeds on mostly meat and rarely relies on tools to hunt and dispatch them, but its species can meticulously craft weaponry. But will these weapons be better than Scar King's? If we use gorillas and orangutans as base reference, it's likely that Scar King might have even more intricate tools or have one tool capable of being a multi-use weapon, one which could level the
That'll be
playing
pretty
field
badass
against a much stronger kaiju. Number 4, observation. One thing is learning from your own kind, but another is learning from another species. All apes.
You said controversial. Honestly, Brad, I ain't gonna lie to you, dude. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't care about stuff like that. It don't matter. If Heisei can be, look, if Heisei can be G21, okay, he could be them. If G21 can be Heisei, okay, he could be them. It doesn't really matter at this point. I dealt with enough arguments with that. People get mad too. People get hella mad if you say something like that. Like, they get hella mad, and it's goofy. Like, the Godzilla community is stupid. I ain't gonna lie, it's stupid.
Crunchy hazelnuts.
I was sad to say, but yeah, it's true.
Are capable of seeing and observing a senior specimen complete a task and learning from them. Orangutans are a bit more interesting. In the real world, we find that even amongst themselves, orangutans will employ tactics and tool sets that are unique
see you
to
next
their
time later, I
regions
guess.
or territories. Several researchers have used the word culture to describe these behaviors. They take this a step further by not only learning from their seniors, but also learning from other smaller animals. Orangutans have been observed to study gibbons, observing how they access new food sources, and then copying these methods themselves. But you know what else they watch? Humans. That's right, orangutans are known to learn things from us, such as the catfish retrieval method mentioned earlier, which was likely then learned by another orangutan, and so on. What you're looking at now is an orangutan learning how to use a saw, first determining which side was sharp and recalling how this tool is used, and for what. Will Scar King be as observant as real-world orangutans? This is actually very likely the case. It's possible that this guy is older than Kong, so he already has experience and knowledge attained from other members of his kind that are now dead or maybe still alive, perhaps also learning skills from human Hollow Earth civilizations as well. We must also mention that the Kong species isn't so far behind on this as well. After all, the novelization of Godzilla vs. Kong does state that the Iwi and Kongs did once live together, implying that Kongs also learned a few things from humans. Scar King and his kind, on the other hand, could maybe do the same, but better. If this kaiju is some sort of titan used to spearhead a coalition of red apes, it is perhaps possible that his knowledge is passed down to other members of his kind as well. Now, let's get into the last and most trippy segment of this episode. Number 5, communication. How well could Scar King communicate? In GVK, we witnessed Kong communicate via ASL, American Sign Language. Kong was obviously taught this method of communication, similar to how modern-day apes are taught sign language. In this case, both gorillas and orangutans are capable of communicating in this fashion, capable of making themselves understood and exchanging in complex conversations. But what advantages do orangutans have over gorillas, and what could Scar King's advantage be over Kong? Orangutans are some of the most outwardly cognizant animals, going as far as understanding concepts of exchange and using certain objects as currency to get things in return. Even if an orangutan is not taught sign language, they are capable of pantomiming, using their hands to point at objects in an attempt to get a message across, and they do this quite effectively. Like this fella who was able to get these humans to dig inside this purse to see what was inside. Scar King will likely not be able to talk to humans from the get-go because there's nobody down here teaching this dude sign language that we know of. Despite this, perhaps Scar King would be able to communicate with humans and Kong with other methods, pantomiming like his apparent real-world counterparts, or skipping humanity altogether and talking to Kong. This exchange and dialogue is a lot more likely to happen in this film. It would be really cool to witness a scene where Kong and Scar King share some sort of dialogue, either through vocalizations or
that would be
signaling,
lit.
and take many forms such as questions, insults, or even
Hold
bullying.
on. Yeah, I would love to see. I can't wait to see that because obviously Kong and Scar King is going to communicate with each other. They're going to communicate. They're going to communicate, and I can't wait to see that.
This is where a much more witty and manipulative kaiju would have an edge, getting inside Kong's head and making him act more erratic. Today, we learned that orangutan intelligence is a bit different than that of gorillas, probably suggesting that Scar King's character and abilities may give him an edge against Kong. But will this be enough to face both Kong and Godzilla? Subscribe to not miss another episode further discussing Scar King and more theories before the release of GXK. Don't forget to hit that link in the description so you and your friends can play
Well, that's cool. I guess that's cool. That's cool to know. Man, bro, I want to watch Godzilla versus Megalon, but I can't watch it, bro. They like freaking the Toho is gonna shut down my entire stream, my live stream. They're gonna shut it down.